generally people, because it's been free for so long, when it is monetized, even for our ticketed performances, sometimes we get that response like, oh, you're just trying to make money off of this thing that was made to be this democratic resource for everyone. But I
That's
think,
kind of like podcasting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's like at some point people do need to live, and to be rewarded for what you do is always helpful.
Welcome to Audio Branding, the hidden gem of marketing. I'm your host, Jody Krangle, and this podcast will discuss just how sound influences our behavior. I generally talk about this in the context of advertising and marketing, but there are other places this is important too. I really feel that it plays a much more important role in our lives than maybe we realize. So let's delve a little deeper. This is the second part of my interview with Melinda Lauw. One other thing that I wanted to ask you about, among other things, you have done some work for advertisers with this, right?
Yes.
So can you talk a little about how that works and maybe some information on who you've worked with?
Yeah, so
If you can say.
I will say those that we've already worked with. Like
Sure.
Refinery 29, for example, does this annual event called 29 Rooms, which is like an immersive ticketed thing. And they invited us to come in and like co-create one of those 29 rooms with them. So we did an ASMR walk through a tactile tunnel. So you would listen to this ASMR story, and like while you're blindfolded, touching different textures on the wall that correspond to the story.
Yeah, you showed that video to me, I think. So
yes.
it was you going through that, right?
Yeah, that was like the trailer that we made before it opened.
Yeah, it looked really interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of in between a commercial project and also like an art commission. Some of the more commercial things we've done is like we partnered with Moxie hotels to do the opening event of their hotel in New York City. So they gave us the suite on like the 30-something floor, and every half an hour or so, they'll bring up like 30 VIPs, and then they'll experience a live ASMR performance, and they also get to make their own ASMR videos. So we do events like that, like installation events. And then for Moxie Hotels, we also made ASMR videos with them. So they hired the talent that they wanted, and then we came in and kind of guided them on how to make the ASMR video, or like what content to use and the script. And those videos actually live permanently in Moxie hotel rooms now. They have a channel where you can listen to bedtime stories, so it's up there permanently.
Oh, perfect. So people can get a good night's sleep if it works for them. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. How was that experience, making scripts for someone else to do?
That was actually like, so it's a collaborative process. We will learn what the brand wants to achieve, and then write the script in response to that. So for them, it was like trying to highlight where they were in Manhattan and in the Flower District, and preparing to go out or preparing to stay in the hotel room for the night, those kind of situations. And then when they brought their talent to meet with us, then that's where we also had to include their personality a little bit. Then we tweaked the script and gave them some room to improvise.
Yeah, wow. So other than Moxie Hotels, have you created videos like this? Like, besides immersive experiences within one venue, have you done like ads?
Actually, we have, because we specialize in like in-person stuff. Most of our gigs before COVID had been like ASMR events that happened in their press conference or an opening of something, product launches. So we did a lot of those. And then right before the pandemic, we started doing this series with Audible. They started putting out lots of content to help people sleep, and we were one of their partners. So that's an example of like, I guess, like a digital experience. But
Sure.
we've never been commissioned to make the ASMR video ourselves. So oftentimes we'll get hired as the consultants to come in and tell them like, okay, is this the right way to do ASMR? Are these sounds actually going to be relaxing? And then the video making usually comes from the PR agency or the ad agency, whoever's interfacing between us and the brand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was just curious because my first introduction to ASMR was actually IKEA's commercial. I think that was 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but it's still such a good one. When it comes to ASMR and ads, I feel like a lot of people now want to use it because it's just like trendy.
Yeah.
And IKEA was way ahead of the curve. And the way they did their video was really true to what ASMR videos were. It was so long and sort of boring in that sense. And so sometimes now when we work with brands, we also realize that not everybody wants that kind of old school ASMR. They want it to be a little bit punchy. They want to just like deliver their things. It's for social media, for example, it can't be that long. So we have to work within all of these demands also and try to find that middle ground. And for those kind of projects, it's like we're taking ASMR and trying to communicate something with it, but I wouldn't necessarily, watch that to help me fall asleep,
Yeah, because it is still advertising. I mean, yeah, one of the things that I noticed about that particular video was that the woman's voice, while she was whispering, it was still a bit loud. And so, and my impression of that was, well, at first I didn't get it at all. but my impression of that was, well, she has to kind of speak a little louder because she is advertising for a product. And you need to know what the product is, besides hearing her fingers move over sheets and tapping on lamps and stuff like that. I mean, you need to know what you're advertising.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
in that sense, it made a lot of sense. But yeah, there is, like you're saying, this middle ground where you're still advertising for a product. So yes, you want people to be relaxed and experience those brain tingles if it's possible, but at the same time, they need to know what the advertiser is.
Yes, yeah. And so there's always this balance. Usually it's about what the brand, like how they want to put out this content and whether the intention is really just to help people sleep or not. And most of the time it isn't. Most of the time the products may not even be really related to sleeping. It might be related to wellness or like vaguely related to relaxation. And so we cater our services to what the brands need. And I would say that actually like our in-person events provide us with more opportunity to play with these things. For example, we did like a press event for a liquor company. They were launching a new canned drink. And so we did this experience where everyone was blindfolded and they were essentially given a goodie bag that we facilitated this like unboxing ritual. So they would take out different things and then be guided to listen to the sounds or smell the ingredients, and they were all parts of the brand story. So like this is the malt that the drink is made out of, and that's the material that the can is made of all sorts of things like that. And we break it down so that even though it is still advertising the thing, we're trying to use touch more. That is the major difference between like online and offline, is that we can play around with touch and we can play around with the actual product.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're making that brand into an actual full sensory experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is pretty wonderful. Yeah. I mean, and it would make a much bigger impression, I would think, the more senses you're using to experience this brand. Yeah, it's this like, because it's ASMR is so slow, and the whole point actually is about paying attention. So it's actually super helpful for the brand because you're forcing in a very, very gentle and pleasing way people to pay attention to all the little details.
Are you looking Looking for ways to improve your company's or podcast's impact? You'd be surprised how powerful the use of an intentional audio branding strategy can be. Want to know more? I have a free downloadable PDF that gives you my 5 tips for implementing an intentional audio strategy at voiceoversandvocals.com/audio-branding-strategy. That location does ask to put you on a mailing list, just to send you updates on when the new podcasts come out. But if you really don't want to give your email out, I understand. Just contact me directly. My email is all over my website, and I'll make sure you get that PDF without needing to sign up anywhere. If you do sign up, though, you also get access to a resources section called The Studio, where I have videos, white papers, and PDFs, discounts from my guests, and snippets of audio from my guests that no one else gets to hear. So maybe it's worth your while. Totally up to you. And of course, if you're looking for voiceovers, you can get in touch with me about that too. Now, back to the podcast.
Yeah, I love that. What a great way to experience a brand. I mean, all around. Know the ingredients, know everything that you need to know about that brand. Yeah, that's really wonderful. So where do you think this is going in the future? Are you seeing a trend in the videos or in live performance when it comes back?
I am actually continuously surprised by how ASMR just keeps growing and growing in terms of the community online. There were several waves of like press and awareness for ASMR over the years, but every time a wave ends, I expect it to just like plateau and die or just become nothing. And there seems to just be more and more waves coming. And so I feel like it will get to a point where ASMR is just like normal and people just do it in their everyday lives and it wouldn't be such a big deal. In some ways, I feel like it's already gotten there. Usually when I talk to people, I don't have to always explain what ASMR is. Even if they don't understand it fully, they will know, oh, that whispering video online or the mukbang videos. In terms of the in-person stuff, that one is a bit more tricky because maybe in like 3 years' time when we are totally over all the safety issues, then we can return to all that touching and intimacy. But until then, I feel like the online ASMR space is actually such a good avenue for people to feel a sense of comfort despite the distance now.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that especially now, needing that comfort is kind of universal.
Yeah. Completely.
Anxiety reduction, all of that stuff that we all really need right now.
And it's free. That's the thing.
Yes.
So it's super accessible. And I think that is really like the reason why it has kept on going. Because I feel like it's also such a welcoming space that more and more people are making content. I'm on all the kind of like ASMR Facebook groups, and every other day there's someone who's like, oh, I just started making videos. What do you think of my first video? So it feels like it's accessible to consume, but it's also accessible to contribute back and to become an ASMR content creator.
Yeah. I wonder how much YouTube has sort of contributed to this, because I know maybe it's harder to make a living on YouTube now than it used to be, but ASM artists are actually able to make some money doing this.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the top tier, but I think because there's that top tier to aspire to, people feel like it is possible. And I do think it is. It's about time, like how much time you have and your commitment. But definitely,
it's quite something. I think maybe the way to possibly monetize YouTube in a way that's more accessible for the people who aren't top tier yet is probably sponsorships, because I know that I've seen a lot of like mattress companies, for instance, and a lot of gaming companies, strangely enough, using the top tier as sponsorship opportunities and having those ASM artists actually do an ASMR piece on what they're selling, which is compelling. I mean,
it is. And I know some people in the ASMR community are like also iffy about this. Generally, people, because it's been free for so long, when it is monetized, even for our ticketed performances, sometimes we get that response like, oh, you're just trying to make money off of this thing that, was made to be this democratic resource for everyone. But I think
It's kind of like podcasting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's like at some point people do need to live, and to be rewarded for what you do is always helpful.
Yeah. I mean, artistry needs to be paid for in some fashion.
Yeah.
The whole issue of starving artists always kind of annoyed me. Why should an artist be starving? Why?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
They should be paid for their work. If that happens to be with a sponsorship, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, I mean, maybe I'm not, but I'm not a part of the community. So
I think the ASMR artists who've done sponsored videos are oftentimes also very, very selective with the brands they work with.
Yes.
Usually there has to be a high level of like coherence between the brand's value and their own. But there are lots of other ways. Yeah.
Yeah, even the people that I see doing it, they're advertising for brands that they appreciate. And things like Helix, I think, like the mattresses, right? I've seen that a lot recently. And they send out a mattress to these people so that they can actually experience the sleep on these mattresses. And
that's amazing.
It's not like they're talking about something they haven't experienced. And in the case of the gaming, I know that a lot of these people who are ASM artists are actually gamers as well. So it's really interesting to see what they like and what they want to advertise for. But I've also seen honey advertised a lot.
Oh.
You know what honey is?
No. Wait,
No,
you're not talking about honey. Like,
no, it's
okay.
honey is a app on your browser.
Oh.
And when you're buying things, it gives you coupons and stuff like that to save money.
I actually have that on my browser.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I've seen a lot of ASM artists advertise for honey, which is
wow.
I mean, I'm assuming because they buy stuff, it's very relevant.
Yeah.
That and VPNs. I've seen them advertise for those, like a bunch of them. They all seem to have some kind of a link to the person that's advertising it. But like podcasting, I'm assuming that they get more bang for their buck when the person who's actually the host talks up that product. As opposed to just putting an ad in the middle of your content.
Yeah. It's definitely much more effective. Actually, videos with ads, sometimes I just don't even watch them because they're usually really disruptive to the ASMR process. I can take maybe one ad at the start of the video, but if an ASMR video has ads in the middle, I just don't even bother.
That can be frustrating. I know that, like, for instance, I know GB does this. She puts it right at the front of her videos, and it's like a sponsored Saturday. So if it's the Saturday video, it's going to have one. But she actually does it in the ASMR style, so it's not disruptive. And actually, it's an enjoyable part of the video, which is a little freaky in and of itself. But she actually does a really good job with that. And most of the ones who do that are aware that they don't want to jar you out of things, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really effective when they do that, actually.
I find it really interesting. So what are you working on right now? Are you able to talk about anything?
Right now, well, I just finished doing an ASMR live stream that was for the National Center for Architecture and Design in Sweden.
Wow.
They actually are about to close the world's first museum level exhibit on ASMR. So that is really, really exciting for the community in general.
Yeah.
And then I don't really have any ASMR like big projects coming up. I guess I'll just be going back to trying to make videos for my YouTube channel. And I need to do better at that.
Yeah. But I guess you kind of spoke to what the future would be, but yeah, I'm interested in seeing what happens over time, especially now when people are relying on these videos a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the next genre that you think you're going to try out?
I've done the miniatures and the objects and the role playing. I feel like I'm gonna try to make some really lo-fi ones
Mhm.
because I sometimes miss the videos that I had before ASMR became a thing.
Mhm.
They were just completely random. They had horrible sound, but all the noise and all the ambient stuff, I don't know. I just wanna also, as a way to motivate myself to make videos, I tend to get scared because I feel like I need to make it perfect. And
Yeah.
I just wanna try to do some really simple, kind of not that perfect videos to see how people respond.
I think that's a great idea. I will be
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing them. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. If someone wanted to reach out to you or see your projects, how would they be able to reach you?
Go to whisperlodge.nyc. That's our website, and the
Okay.
email goes directly to me.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been really great.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing more from you in the future, and hopefully you'll be able to go back to live performances before 3 years are up.
Yes.
Let's hope.
Once we are done with this, I'm going to do it.
Good. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you heard, why not tell a friend about this podcast? It's available on all the usual outlets. Until next time.